Now, you fellows all know the importance of radio communication. But these two words don't mean a thing without the word security. I've watched radio grow up from old spark gaps with a range of a few hundred miles to these super tube jobs that will send a message 10,000 miles with the flick of a key. Every increase in transmission range increases the importance of transmission security. Now, you fellows have learned a lot of rules and regulations. Let us look at some of the reasons for those regulations. Security covers a lot of territory, so we'll talk about the points that directly affect you radio men. First, radio silence. You all know there is only one way to keep quiet, but a million ways to gab. Now, in the 23 years I've been in our business, I've had sort of a hobby. I collect monkeys, cuckoos, crackpots, all sorts of lame brains. And I've got a pretty complete little zoo. Let's take a look around.
Oh, Buddy, what a record?
Here he is in person, Gabby Gus. He's the radio man on the destroyer Storl, a day out of port. Her sister ship is the Grandy, and they're both coming in from patrol. There seems to be a lot of radio activity going on.
I tell you I can't, Bill.
Oh, go on, Gus. Call him. He's got a bunch of things.
I don't know. If they catch me.
Oh, nuts. You can sneak it through.
It's pretty risky.
Oh, don't be like that, will you? Shh, quiet.
Here's Charlie now.
Charlie, my boy.
He's got a hot one on the fire for tonight.
Great minds run the same frequency, huh? Tell him to fix one up for me, too.
Okay, Bill, I'll flip my fast.
Let's come aboard the Grandy. Here is Gus's first cousin, Charlie Chatter. Huh, what a specimen. God's gift to the American woman. He's got 'em all cataloged. While these Romeos are gassing back and forth, there's a little direction finder doing a job in a nearby enemy sub.
Facciamo posizione. Attaccare. Jack canone passing some fire. Jawohl. Flat zum Auftauchen. Alle Zeit auf.
When a man is on watch, he is on watch and not on a pleasure cruise. That's why security and communications prohibits unofficial use of radio equipment. So the next time you feel like chewing the rag, don't go on the air to do it. You're endangering your own life, your shipmates, and your ship. Okay, let's get back to that zoo again. This is a dodo. It has been extinct for hundreds of years. Unfortunately, the human variety of dodo is still in existence. This scintillating specimen is known as Dodo Dog. Dodo is standing watch. A yeoman who works in the communications office hands him a message. Looks to me like that dispatch hasn't got the OK signature on it. Now, it just happens that the yeoman picked up that dispatch by mistake. It was not to be sent out till an hour later. But a little thing like a signature doesn't faze Dodo Dog. Out goes the message and balls up a whole series of orders which have to be retransmitted correctly and checked. And Dodo is responsible for a gab fest that knocks radio silence into a cocked hat. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by telling you that all kinds of trouble can break loose when you send out an unauthorized message. Never send a message unless it has been properly released. Our next exhibit is brilliant. Danny Dummox in the flesh. Well, tuning a transmitter is something that has to be done. But Danny, for Pete's sake, look. You're on the air. He should stay afloat another 12 hours, easy. He's done a swell job. He's happy. Hello. Here's our friend Dodo Dalton again, practicing. That's nice, Dodo. Practice. You're a very good boy. Almost angelic. Everybody should practice. Dodo. Hey, Dodo. That's Doodling is going out on the air. Dodo was allergic to switches. It's a little late now, isn't it, brain food? Oh, I know you're sorry. You've only been on the air half an hour. There isn't an enemy listening post that hasn't got you tagged. You won't be needing that phony halo where you're headed for. You'll be getting a permanent one. You wouldn't believe it, but this all reminds me of a certain naval character I've got in my collection. He's a radio man on a big, brand-new battle wagon. Fancy Pants Folly. A pretty smooth article. Plenty of class. Let's listen to what the wild waves are saying. LSTXY, sign off, and 2 dits. Very fancy. Here's our friend back again. 2 months have passed by. How's he doing? Mr. Fancy Pants always has to get in his 2 dits. But at a German listening post, they spotted those 2 dits over on our east coast. Then that 2-dit trail is followed all the way over to Africa. The enemy now has valuable information about that battle wagon. All on account of 2 little extra dits. So anytime you feel like sticking in a few extra curlicues in your code, remember it might develop into a bad habit that can be spotted. Keep that fist going like a machine and nothing else. Anytime you go on the air, think. Unofficial transmission, unauthorized messages, tuning with antenna cut in, practicing with your transmitter on, Fancy Pants sending, all adds up to one thing. You're on the air and you're not supposed to be. You are breaking radio silence. Cryptographic security, next on our list. That's the business of the communications and the coding officers. You might say, well, what's that got to do with us? Well, it's got a lot to do with you because you're the guys that are sending it out and bringing it in. Don't give the enemy your right name. Remember, he's always listening. When you do have to talk, use a phony name, but not like this mug.
Hello, Molly. This is Willie. Willie DeZepp. No, I mean Mrs. Klein. Yeah, your cousin Klein. Honey, I'll see you just as soon as I get a chance with you.
Zepp is a small-time thief. He has pulled a job and the cops are after him. To cover his trail, he uses the name of Clarence. But when the pinhead has to call his girl, he forgets all about his phony name. The cops who are listening in have tapped Molly's phone. All he had to do was say, "This is Willie, and it's so long, Willie." Here's our naval specimen, William Zeppel. He's legitimate, but he hasn't got too much of that gray matter, commonly known as brains. Listen. There it is. This is what the monitor station received. BB88. Erase sign YNZ2. Now, BB88 is the known call sign of Willie's ship. He sends it out by mistake, then corrects it, and gives the secret sign YNZ2. Well, the enemy is there listening. They've got Willie's private phone number, and our deception is void. A little football for change. This guy looks busy with his pencil and paper. Let's look over his shoulder, see what it's all about. He's scouting a team, getting their signals, so that next Saturday his team will know the opponent's plays in advance. The enemy is always listening. Every time one of our transmitters is working, you can bet that some Jap or Nazi interceptor is copying that message and shooting it back to their black chambers where they try to break it down. Every time one of our men makes a mistake, he speeds up the breaking down of that cipher just that much. This actually happened in the last war. It was in 1918. The Germans had planned a devastating drive on Champagne in July. It was essential that they keep their plans absolutely secret. So, for the plans involving the proposed attack, they issued a new code to all units. This unit had not received the key to the new cipher. In answer to orders encrypted in the new cipher, they replied, "New cipher not yet received. Please repeat message in old cipher." Well, they got this request at headquarters, and some lame brain very kindly obliged. The English listening post got both messages. Having already broken down the old code and then getting the new one in exact translation, it was a pipe. Soon the English intelligence were reading all traffic encrypted in the new system. Countermeasures were taken, and they knocked the Heinies right back on their heels. All because some German didn't use his head. Well, here I am again. The word that you have heard more often than any other during your training is accuracy. Accuracy in radio communications is a two-man job. There's always the pitcher and the catcher, or otherwise you just don't have communication. I guess baseball is about the best way to show you what I mean. And I've got a pretty good collection of baseball goats in my zoo. Here is Exhibit A, Dream Boy. What a pitcher. He's got his mind on everything but the ball. And this is Dream Boy Davis, radio man 3rd class, standing a watch. Looks more like he's dreaming a watch. He's sending to shore station, and the operator's having a tough time trying to copy. He can't understand the message. It's been gobbled so badly that he asks for a full repeat, all of which makes our dream boy very, very angry, because it disturbs his beautiful reverie. But only for a moment. Back he goes into the clouds again. Still, the shore radio man can't get a decent copy from our sea-going dream boy. In the meantime, one of our merchantmen has gotten a fish from an enemy sub and is sinking. Luckily, a plane sights her immediately. The plane tries to radio the position of the sinking ship to the shore station. Looks like we might get some fast action, but shore station is still tied up. Can't get that message from our dream boy. Yes, he's still dreaming, slopping up the air so badly that a message, which should have gotten through in 2 minutes, has already taken 12. The plane hasn't been able to get through. Minutes count. Minutes lost means lives lost. I mentioned before, accuracy is a two-man job. Look at this guy hustling them in. Plenty of zip. Listen to Radio Man Speedball Sperry. What a sender. Now, Jack, who is at the other end of this deal, is a good radio man, 2nd class. But maybe he just can't receive at 30 per minute. So he gets snowed under. But Speedball Sperry is still zipping away, not thinking for one instant about the guy at the other end. This next pitcher is just about the most dangerous guy on the diamond. He's so wild that the catcher can't even feel the breeze from the ball passing over. And as for Wild Man Wentworth, radio man 3rd class, he's got the airways so fouled up that he's a positive menace. Here is an urgent message. It means return to base immediately. Let's hear how the Wild Man dishes this one out. Sounds way off to me. Let's see what the radio on the destroyer flagship got. Turn 4. There's a neat little job for you. The communications officer takes the message topside to the captain, but they can't figure it out. They think it's most likely enemy deception. And while they're trying to guess who would send such a message and why, a half hour passes and the destroyer that would have made an immediate about-face after having received the correct message runs smack into a hornet's nest. Well, there's just a few of the things that can happen. I'm having a catalog printed of the various exhibits in my zoo which I thought might interest you. Now, this is the cover, and here are some of the drawings. Here's Gabby. Remember how we used his equipment to make dates? Dodo Dalton, allergic to switches. Doodles on the air. Danny Dummer, same complaint. He likes to tune his transmitter with the antenna cut in. William Zeppo gives his right name at the wrong time. Fancy Pants Farley, the two-dit wonder. Here's Dream Boy. He's up in the air while they're going down to the bottom. Bang, bang, bang. Here's Speedball Sperry, a zillion words a minute. And our poor friend Jack, snowed under. And last but not least, Wild Man Wentworth, he's poison. Well, that about winds up my collection. Quite a bunch, eh? They're doing a swell job. For the Axis, we have our sights pointed in another direction. We're all working together to do a job for our side, so let's get out and do it.